There seems to have been a bit of resurgence in angling in TV. You know, if you look at, I sort of remember when I was a bit younger, like the kind of late 90s, early 2000s, there was a lot of angling, and then it seemed to dip for some reason. But the last five or so years, you've had River Monsters, Mortimer and Whitehouse, of course, the shows that you've done. I just wondered, do you think there's a reason that angling has sort of had a resurgence on TV?
To be honest with you, mate, I could sit here and come up with a nice sort of romantic answer, but I can pretty much tell you exactly, what the way that it went. So, when I was a kid, same as you, I used to watch Go Fishing on the television with John Wilson. He was my idol. I wrote a lot about John Wilson and trying to follow in his footsteps when I wrote that book as well. What a legend, what a hero. Really,
he's a fen. Well, he lived in the fens, didn't he? Norfolk, that sort of neck of the woods.
Yeah. Do you know what? He spent a lot of his time fishing in Norfolk. He might have actually been based in Suffolk.
Okay, yeah.
Might have been. Oh, mate. No, he was Norfolk. Of course he was. Yeah, he fished the Waveney. Sorry, man. John Wilson, rest in peace, mate. He probably just rolled up.
Yeah. He'll be chuckling away somewhere.
Yeah, and then he moved to Thailand later on in his life, and that was where he unfortunately passed. But God, I can't believe I just said he was from Suffolk. No, he was Norfolk. Yeah, 100%. And they were really popular. And then you had programs on BBC One like A Passion for Angling with Chris Yates and Bob James. Absolutely legendary series, rated off the wall on the BBC. And then there was a couple of flops. I don't know what they were because I probably didn't see them or they weren't on my radar. And basically it became people within commissioning in mainstream television were basically got the opinion that fishing on TV fishing didn't rate. So then it was sort of like migrated over to like the satellite channels like Discovery Shed, where Matt Hayes did his fishing shows and all that sort of thing. And that was where I kind of would get my fishing TV fix from. And then you're quite right. There has been a resurgence lately, definitely. Jeremy Wade came along with River Monsters on Animal Planet. It became the biggest rating show in Animal Planet history. But obviously that was made for an American audience. Over in Britain, it still was really watched when they had its ITV4 stuff, but it wasn't like, it was still kind of seen. It's like, well, kind of fishing shows like that extreme fishing element, that's more of an Americanized thing. I don't think the commissioners have really latched onto it here in the UK. The game changer, beyond any shadow of a doubt, was Mortimer and Whitehouse coming along with their Gone Fishing series on BBC Two.
One of the things I noticed... one of the things I noticed was a lot of my friends who are not remotely interested in fishing loved that series. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's such a good series, and it ticks so many of the boxes about what fishing is. We talked about shark fishing earlier and stuff, and like people can often get confused non-anglers when they just see a bloke. And let's be honest, unfortunately, it is predominantly blokes. I think 1 in 4 in the sport are females at the moment. They see a bloke sat with a big fish, and it becomes this sort of like either it's a macho machismo thing, or it's a bunch of blokes drowning maggots, and it's boring, basically. Whereas actually, it's neither of those things. If you speak to anglers, it's about spending time on the bank, immersing yourself in nature. It's about that sort of thrill of what might be down there, what you might catch that day. And it's also, when you're fishing with your friends, it's about having a really good laugh. And that is what obviously, Mortimer and Whitehouse do. And because they both had serious health problems, they talk about on the show with their heart, what they're doing is they're showing that fishing is a really good, accessible way of getting back out into the countryside and enjoying wildlife again. And it's good for you, man. It's good for the soul, and it's got massive physical benefits as well. And it's encapsulated in those shows. They're a great laugh. They catch some really cool fish. They go to some really lovely places. And it's rated off the scale. It's got a second series, and now it's got a third series, and it's coming out. And it's good news for all of us as well, because when you get big mainstream successes like that, it means the littler guys like me are able to kind of slightly bunny hop onto that, and you get fishing shows like Go Fish off the ground.
Yeah, you can argue the point, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's great, man.